It's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On today's edition of the show, take a look at the English Premier League games played yesterday, the results, and how that influences, the title race. Arsenal will be on showcase tonight against Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium. And all of that will form the bulk of our conversation on today's edition of the show. Thank you for joining, and I tell you, it promises to be a roller coaster ride in the next couple of minutes. We're going to short break now. When we come back, it will be time to take you through all the happenings in sports. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. Kinsley Emmanuel joins me this evening to look at some of the trending stories in sports. Kinsley, it's a beautiful evening. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very for having me. Nice to be here this evening.
All right, so our focus on the show will be on the English Premier League as well as some games. The centerpiece is the game between Brentford and Arsenal. I'll talk about that in a jiffy. But first off, let's take a look at other sports because a lot has been happening, and I can tell you for sure that yes, the Winter Olympic Games is ongoing a lot. One of the players was banned, yesterday, and a lot of reaction from that one. If you have been following that particular one, and a lot too in the realm of tennis has been going on. We have the Dallas Open for the ATP 500. Where we saw Great Britain's Jack Pennington, who recorded the biggest win of his career with a stunning straight set victory over world number 20, Flavio Cobolli, the Italian, at the Dallas Open. He's age 22, ranked 181 in the world. He has now advanced through qualifying to reach the main draw of an ATP 500 event for the first time. And if you look at the way it is now, no doubt, when you get to defeat a player like Cobolli, you just have... I got that in 54 minutes. That's the most fantastic thing. My own is just about the fact that he was able to defeat him. But the timing and the way he used in getting past Cobolli is what bothers me about Cobolli. But this is ATP. ATP Spring Surprises, and this is just one of those surprises. Early to call, but Cobolli is the victim, for now. We'll celebrate Pennington.
Yes, surprises like this, happen in tennis, and we'll just hope that, of course, the young man who has been able to put up this impressive performance, will be able to keep it up, because it's one thing for you to host out a very big name, and it's another thing for you to keep up consistency. Can he continue to do this? Can he continue to put up this impressive, performance going forward? I think that's what, of course, we should be looking at for at this point in time, and that's what he should strive, to achieve, at the end of the day. It was a very impressive performance in the space of, I think, 50-something minutes. He was able to get that one done. That should show how brilliant, how fantastic, of course, he is. So we look forward to see, what comes up from him, if he can maintain, of course, this particular performance going forward.
Still in the Dallas Open, Taylor Fritz got past Brandon Nakashima at 6-3, 6-4, and we also saw some of the doubles games so far played. And just as we talk about the Dallas Open, British number 2 Cameron Norrie himself exited the Rotterdam Open after a 7-6, 6-4 second round defeat to qualifier Christopher O'Connor, the guy who is from from Australia. For Cameron Norrie, I'm thinking that a lot of inconsistency on his part, but then it's just one of those things that has happened to him again.
It's very unfortunate. The man has not been consistent, and it's not, of course, a good one, to his career. Not a good one when it comes to, of course, the ranking for him. We're expecting a whole lot, of course, from him, but we've not been seeing that, of course, coming up, as it stands. And if you take a look at it, for the British players, it's been so difficult for them. I don't really know what's the issue or what's the problem with them, stepping up when it comes to do with performance. The British players, they've really, of course, been struggling to live up to expectations. So it's one of those things, we're seeing from them. I just hope that Cameron Norrie will actually look for a way to be able, of course, to take himself away from this struggle and see how, of course, he can regain back his strength and see how he can be consistent.
See how he can be consistent, and that's what we desire to see. And I can tell you that Ugo Humbert is through to the next round. He got past Odin. We also saw Jan Muller get past Karen Kachanov. This is surprising for me, but look at it. It was a very strong game. Tie break in the 4 sets. 7-6 is ended in that particular one. 6-3. Karen Kachanov won and then came back to win, 6-3. So you see how far things can be. We also saw beautifully Alex de Minaur also got past Stan Wawrinka, 6-4, 6-2 in that particular one. The Argentine Open is on, and the Argentine himself, Francisco Cerundolo, got past Hugo Dalian, 6-love, 7-6. That's his own Grand Slam. And then we also saw some other. But the good thing about this is that we have a lot of ATPs ongoing right now. ATP 500, ATP, the Qatar Open. That's where the big ladies are playing. But for the men, you have the right to select a certain number. The ATP said you are going to play a certain number of games to require you to. You're going to as part of a requirement yearly. These are the number of ATPs you're going to play. So they give room for them to select, and that's why we're getting to see many. And so some persons are just careful. They go to the ones that they know that they can easily win. But who cares? What matters is ATP 500, ATP 1000, ATP 250. Go for the ones that you can, but some persons will also think that they look at those who have, I don't know how they're going to do it, but if I know that the big guys will not be here, and I stand by my level of preparation, I stand advantage to win, I don't go for a lesser one and then win that one, pocket that one, and register yourself. Because the more you win, the more you build yourself for the year. That's why you get to see that some unknown players, the ones you even know, they go about, they have one like 3-4 ATPs in a year. And while some, for 1 year, they have nothing to hold on to. So I'm just thinking that if it is that tricky or easy, maybe you just put some, go there, prepare and get that. I know that there's no ATP that is easy, like the Argentine Open. You'll be surprised one big name we just trialing for that one. But these guys are not taking anything to chance. They just want to win, and that's what matters now. Yeah, that's what matters, of course, at this point in time. They just want to win, especially to improve their rankings. At this point in time, this ATP 250, 1000, of course, I think for me will go a long way in trying to help, especially some of these players who are not, of course, maybe in the top 10. To be able to improve themselves, improve their ranking before maybe the Grand Slams, comes in. So for me, I think it's just to get themselves, prepared, and as well, improve their rankings. I think this will go a long way in helping them to be in shape ahead of course, the big ones that will be coming up. Some also ousted out, from the competition, like Djokovic, who has pulled out from the Qatar Open, just of some of them, of course, just to make sure the rest. Some are not really fighting for the point. Like a player like Djokovic, he doesn't care about the rankings. He doesn't care about points. All he needs is just to maybe have fun, in competitions. Prepare for the Grand Slams. For Grand Slams, and all of that. So for me, I think if you take a look at it, it's just a preparatory tournament to prepare the players to be in shape ahead of the big one. Prepare them to be in shape, and we'll see how some of the games. Ostapenko is now through to the next round because of the win that she got against Kosiriato, and then there's a big game ongoing right now. Victoria Mboko, Kensley, your friend, is playing against Elena Rebekina, and that game is still 2-2 in the first set. The second game of the first set. That means it won't be an easy one at all, but it's easy to say. Maybe at the end of the day, we'll get to see who goes through. Yeah, it's going to be a very tough one. Don't forget, Elena Rebekina, she has been very fantastic, so far, this year. From Mboko, who is just trying to step up, who is a rising star. I think it's going to be a good one if she gets to win Elena Rebekina. That would be a huge morale booster for Elena Rebekina if she's able, of course, to keep this one up, as it stands. So we'll see what comes up. I think it's been an impressive run for Mboko so far in this competition. We saw her, I think, at the Australian Open as well. She tried her best. We understand she still has a whole lot to learn, in her career. She's still catching up, of course, with the experience and all of that. So playing a big name like this, I tell you, is a huge one for her. If she can be able to, skate through this one, I think it will actually help her, going forward. But it's really going to be a tough encounter. This is a case of an experienced player in the person of Elena Rebekina and a rising star who is just trying to catch up with the experience, down there in tennis. So let us see what comes. There could also be an upset as well. In this one, it's game of tennis, anything can happen. Certainly, game of tennis, anything can happen, and I agree with that, sincerity. So we'll get to see how far it goes. But there will be another crunch encounter. Caroline Muchova, in 57 minutes from now, will be battling Anna Kaliskaya, and that game will come out at the center court, still in the Qatar Open. But before we go on a short break now, Kinsley, it seems like the Formula One season is gradually being rekindled. Somehow preparations are coming up, and we hear that Red Bull are matching the stick to see that they regain back the title they lost to the McLaren, in the season testing. But then Toto Wolff's, the chief, the man at the helm of affairs, principal of Mercedes, has come out to pinpoint that with the test in Bahrain and the cars the way they are fashioned, it looks as though Red Bull car is still top notch as compared to others. And I see it as mind game, but early days to call.
Early days to call. It's not about to come out and say the Red Bull car is still the number one, or maybe it's the number one car in terms of form, and all of that. We'll just wait to see when the season gets started. All right. Last season we were all praising Mercedes, I beg your pardon, Red Bull, to be the best car. But all of a sudden we saw McLaren from nowhere.
Exactly.
They took the center stage. At the end of the day. So. For me, I think it's too early to even start talking about, which car is going to perform well and all of that. I think we should wait when the season, of course, gets started properly. Then we'll know, of course, whose car is actually the best, at the end of the day. So far, so good. Yes, you take a look at the pre-testing. I think Red Bull, of course, has been one of the outstanding side, or outstanding car, so far. So for me, I think we should just keep everything low and see what comes up in the main season. It probably might be a season of surprises. We might also be expecting McLaren coming up with something, but it might be a season where we might see on the other side, spring up, of course, to do something. So for me, just like you mentioned, it could be mind games, from Red Bull, but I think there's going to be a whole lot to fight for. This season, we're going to see a lot from some of these constructors. You can't take away Ferrari, from this, in this season. Lewis Hamilton is still looking forward to see how he can establish himself, once again as well. Talk about the Mercedes team, the McLaren as well, Red Bull. So it's really going to be a very, very intense, season. We take a look at the way the teams, the constructors, they've prepared so far. So for me, I think Red Bull should just try to see how they can maintain their cool and see if maybe the season, of course, will favor them, because it's going to be tough. McLaren want to see how they can establish the dominance, once again. The drivers,
they will continue.
Yes, they are very hungry this time.
One is yet to also win. So I agree with you. So maybe we'll get to see how far it goes. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk football matters, starting from the home scene here, and then we'll move straight to the English Premier League. Don't forget, too, that Barca will be in Copa del Rey action tonight. All right, welcome back. If you are just joining us, it's still Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television and Network. And I see how Kingsley Emmanuel here doing justice to the analysis of some of these topical, sporting stories that we've talked about earlier. It's time to talk football matters now, and we'll start with the Nigeria Premier Football League, where we hear, and it's been confirmed that the Nigerian Premier Football League Board has sanctioned Wiki Tories following multiple violations during their league match against the Bauchi-based Katsina United. Now, Wiki Tories, the Bauchi-based club, was found guilty of providing adequate security, allowing unauthorized access to restricted areas, and for supporters misconduct. All of that, and then we hear that the amount summed all together amounted to about 8.5 million. Now, this is not just the matter, Kingsley. Kind pillars have come out to express that this is a similar incident that they did. They committed the same offense, but that the sanction placed on them is not as heavy as theirs. So they are calling for the NNPFL to not to take away their 3 points, to give them back their 3 points, having paid all the dues, all the sanction, and also having banished them too. Yeah, but that 3 point was not deducted. That was the only thing missing in this verdict by the NPFL.
For me, I think it's a controversial one. My concern in all of this is about the issue of match officials being harassed. We'll see people, of course, running to the stadium to disrupt the game, fighting, and all of that. The question is, when will all of this, of course, stop in the Nigerian Premier Football League? We've been seeing this for so many years now, so many years. When we find, hooliganism in the NPFL, when will it end? So there's a whole lot, at this point in time. And for me, it actually disrupts the free flow of the league, free flow of games, and as well do not paint good image, for the Nigerian Premier Football League. We've been glamoring, talking about the league to improve, but things like this, keep on happening, and you ask yourself, how would the league improve? All right, so it's really a disappointing one, as it stands. We'll just hope that the Nigerian Premier Football League Board will be able to look at for measures, to curb all of this, situation.
Meanwhile, the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusso, think that Rachel will stay with them regardless of the rumors making round that other nations and clubs are after him, and then that they are already fine-tuning plans for him to have a lasting stay. And this is coming at the back of preparations for other games that may come up. But he's very optimistic that Rachel is going nowhere.
Yes, Chelsea has a year contract with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, so I don't think he will leave the team. But for me, I think, looking at the way other countries are looking out for his services, at this point, so why don't you maybe give him another 1 year contract? All right, and maybe with what he has done, a little bit of increase. That's, of course, maybe we want him to stay.
The man is thinking that he can get $100,000 US
from Super Eagles.
Yeah, from Super Eagles job. He's paid about $60,000 US, right?
So they were $100,000 from Super Eagles. When was the last time Super Eagles paid a coach $100,000?
You can't hire our coaches in Europe. Yeah, you go get their services.
But that's the thing, I don't think the NFF want to pay him $100,000 at this point.
Even that money itself, they were owing him for 3 months.
Even the $50,000, is it $50 or $60,000? They've been owing the man. He just he loved the team, he loved the national team, he loved the Super Eagles of Nigeria. That's why he's been patient. So for me, in order to lure him or to make him to stay, give him maybe another 1 year. Then you can increase his salary a bit. I think that will give him
safe landing
to remain with the national team. Because when Tunisia is saying, "Come, we'll give you $100,000," Mali are also clamoring for him. We hear Guinea and the rest of them. A few days ago, I think we talked about the fact that Marseille, we are actually looking for him and all of that. So these are options. You never can tell. There could be money they will just bring to his table, and he will look at it and he will think twice. And the next thing he will send a call across or a text to Gusso, say, "I cannot continue again." That's the thing. So you have to, when you see good team, appreciate. Chella has done a lot, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We shouldn't take him for granted because of his peaceful nature. We should try as much as we can to see how to encourage him, make him feel at home, so that he can continue the good work, of course, that he has started already with the national team. So for me, I think it's time, for the Nigeria Football Federation possibly to invite Eric Chell to a roundtable discussion. What's the way forward with the team? Okay, maybe we want to give you a 1-year contract with an increment of so and so. Please, we want to win the next African Cup of Nations, and we don't want any excuse. Let's make a plan. How do we achieve this? These are things, of course, we should be talking about at this point in time. So for me, from the body language of Eric Chell, I don't think he wants to leave the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but we should also try to see how to encourage him. Maybe a contract extension, salary increase will give him that motivation to do more for the national team.
Talk about contract extension. One man who is a very happy man now is Thomas Tuchel. He's just extended his contract by 2 years. Originally, that contract was supposed to expire by the summer after the World Cup, but now he has extended it. That means that he now stands a chance from now to 2028 after the Euros. So you see, Tuchel feels that he can, having done wonderful qualification for the first time, we saw the English team went 100% in the World Cup qualification, and that is fantastic. So the FA felt that, come on, the best way to reward this guy is to give an extension, not minding what will happen in the World Cup, because over time, the reason why he was brought in was the fear of the near success syndrome that they saw with Gareth Southgate. And a lot of people would think that the FA should have waited a little. Why hastily, give him, because he's yet to be tested in the World Cup. We're here to see how far he will go in Euros. Qualification to the World Cup is not a guarantee. Like it's not a measurement or an indices to measure how far he will go in the World Cup proper or to win the World Cup itself.
I think probably the FA have seen that Tuchel is good enough for the job. They feel he can possibly, maybe make England to win a major title once again after so many years. All right, so probably I think that could be the parameters for this contract extension at this point in time. But so far so good. Tuchel has not done badly. Or you take a look at the World Cup qualifiers, so far. You may say it's a World Cup qualifiers, but you will see him trying to, of course, put up a very impressive performance, turning out important results, from those games. So with what we've seen already, I think it's good to go. And maybe the FA also believe in him that possibly he can deliver the long-awaited trophy, England have been waiting for, as a stand. That's why they, extended the contract. It's the same thing we're even talking about with that of Eric Chell. He has done his best to see him put the team in order, finish third place in the last AFCON. Why don't you maybe give him another 1-year contract? But
the difference between Eric Chell and Thomas Tuchel is Thomas Tuchel actually wanted 18 months, which will elapse after the World Cup. And I'm sure, yes, and as time goes on, he now, because he was not sure of what to come, he's yet to be tested in international scene, so he
but his contract has been extended.
Yeah, but now he's loving the job. It's okay now, like Thomas Tuchel, like Eric Chell. Eric Chell is also in a similar shoe. I think that Eric Chell maybe want contract extension, and contract extension implies that you also elevate his salary, elevate his contract terms.
Yes, definitely. When a coach put up a very impressive performance, the only way you can motivate the coach or encourage the coach is to maybe either extend the contract and increase the salary. That will make the coach to be on his toes, knowing that he's been given more, and more is expected of him. But at the end of the day, if you don't do well, you can be shown the exit door. So, all right. So when you're being given everything you need, as a manager, you don't have any issue. Then you know that the only thing you have to do is to deliver. You know at the back of your mind that if you don't deliver, you stand a chance to be sacked. At the end of the day, and that's what I also expect from the Nigeria Football Federation. The man has done his best. He has stabilized the team. Encourage him. Let's build something together. That's the thing. Let's try to see how we can avoid this hiring and firing, thing. Oh, when you bring a coach, he does not perform well, and then you relieve him. That was the same thing we saw with Coach Kenero. He left, and we were able to go and bring another manager. I think it was the person of Pesero. He took us to the AFCON final. He came back and said, increase my salary, contract extension. You say you don't have money. He left. And now we're talking about Eric Chell, who has done well. If Eric Chell is not maybe a camp person, this thing we're talking about, we would have been talking about Eric Chell, coaching another national team now. Because the last African Cup of Nations has really increased its value at this point in time. If it's somebody like Vesu Pesero, he will not even listen to you.
True.
$100,000, he will just maybe grab it with his both hands. That's the thing. So for me, what I think is a good one for Thomas Tuchel, maybe the FES, they've seen that he can do the job. That's why they increase the salary. Same thing, of course. I also expect, the Nigeria Football Federation should do for Coach Eric Chell.
And let's see how far it goes. And a whole lot. But let's talk club football now. Of course, we saw some lovely actions in different cup competitions. We'll start with the German Cup where Hurricane scored a penalty, and Luis Diaz struck again as Bayern beat RB Leipzig 2-0 yesterday to reach the German Cup semi-finals. This is the first time they've got to this level since 2020. So as it stands now, it is them, Freiburg and other clubs that will be contending, for this particular one. Leverkusen is still there, but for them, they have not gotten this far. So you see the Kane factor, and some of the guys they got is really making changing narrative, and they look like a team that gradually, silently, they might just win the quadruple this season, except for the Champions League, where we are yet to really see how far. But they are also done very well, except for Arsenal's defeat. They've won all their games.
Yeah, Bayern Munich, I think they've been in fantastic fashion. Good job from Vincent Kompany. I think the man is really, really putting up a very impressive performance there. We've seen their impressive UEFA Champions League run. We're also looking at their performance in the league as well. It's been top-notch. So Bayern Munich, I think, it's really been impressive for them. Vincent Kompany has really, really improved, of course. Down there, his value has increased. His CV as a manager has also, of course, improved. So for me, it's a good one. We look forward to see how far, of course, they go. Just like you mentioned, they stand a chance for the quadruple as well. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how far Bayern Munich goes this season.
And we saw some actions in English Premier League yesterday and other cup competitions, because we'll come to that one. Even in the Italian Cup, we saw some action there. But let's talk about the English Premier League, because Villa yesterday at Villa Park, ran away with a very solitary goal that guaranteed them the 3 points that is desired against Brighton. For Villa, it looks more like they are fighting for maybe a UEFA Champions League slot, because except Arsenal and Manchester City dropped massive points, it's difficult to really say how far they can get the title this season.
Yeah, I think Aston Villa, they've shown tenacity, but not enough, all right? Not enough. There are some games they have won, but they couldn't, and of course that has kept them at that position of finding it difficult to maybe contend for the league. If you look at it, the title race is more of Arsenal and Manchester City. At this point in time, I don't think Aston Villa really have that power, to chase the title this season. But so far so good. You must give kudos to Unai Emery. Since he took over Aston Villa, for the past 2-3 seasons now, he's been consistent in chasing for the top 4 spots. That should tell you that if he has, the kind of players, of course, he needs, the club, of course, doles out huge amounts of money to get players, Unai Emery will do wonders, with this Aston Villa side. With the crop of players he have, he has been able, of course, to challenge big teams, Arsenal, Manchester City, and this is where he is in the 3rd position, fighting for a Champions League qualification once again. So for me, I think Unai Emery is one manager we should really commend for what he has been able to do, as a coach. But talking about the title this time around, I think a little bit far from them when you take a look at the race so far.
And then if it is far cry, one team that is very close to the title chasing is Manchester City. Yesterday we saw how they cut short the point between them and Arsenal. 3 points separating the both sides now. Subject to Arsenal's game tonight. They got past Fulham yesterday. They made Fulham look ordinary in the first half. And a lot of person predicted that Fulham isn't in the best shape. But then we saw 3 Nigerians on the showcase. But yesterday, the Kevin Bassey that I saw at the AFCON looked very ordinary in the first half.
That's to tell you that not all games are the same. All right, there are games that you prove yourself very well, but when it comes to maybe another level, you know, it just shows you can be the best maybe wherever you are one day, and tomorrow you get to another place and you know that's not started. All right, but that's not to take anything away from Kevin Bassey. He's a good defender.
Yeah.
All right, he's a good defender anytime, any day. A guy has proven himself on several occasions, so we can't take it away. Some games are like that. You know, there are some games you might not really put up your best, or probably people might not really see your best. You know,
I'm sorry, he's just coming back from injury after a very long time.
So for me, I think Fulham, yes, they've tried as much as they can, but they're still struggling. They've struggled in a couple of games, you know, at this point in time. And for Manchester City, I think they've really picked form. I mean, if you take a look at their last 2-3 games, you see that City has picked form.
True.
And that, of course, poses a huge threat to Arsenal when it has to do with, of course, the title race. As it just stands now, they are just behind Arsenal with just 3 points. So it's really a problem now for Arsenal. Arsenal have to win tonight's game to make sure that
to stabilize a little.
To stabilize themselves, to make sure they rekindle back that hope of winning the title. Because if they don't win against Brentford tonight, it becomes a problem. Manchester City will just win the next game, and then it is all done for Arsenal once again this season, and that will be very, very disappointing. It's going to be a disaster if Arsenal does not win the league this season. Honestly, Arteta might be sacked. Arsenal might just lose focus. Everything might just go back to what it was before. Because tell me how they're going to cope. Tell me how they're going to refocus after they've led the Premier League table for so many weeks, and all of a sudden Manchester City came from nowhere to take it away from them. It will be so disappointing. So I just hope that Arteta can tonight to get a win against Brentford. Else, it will be another disappointing season for Arsenal.
Yeah, not just the game between Manchester City that was played. We also saw some lovely results. You know, Nottingham Forest played a goalless draw with the Wolves, and courtesy of that goalless draw, that man has been shown the exit door, Sean Dyche. Maybe the hierarchy felt that how can you draw with a Wolves side who have just won 1 game this season, you know, and have lost 19 games, drawn 5, and then at a home ground where you should beat them, you know, you drew that game. And because of that draw too, they are now just 3 points, you know, above West Ham, 17 points. 17th position placed in the table, and I'm sure the club is thinking, come on, this guy, you don't take us down. We want to stay back, want to retain our place in the English Premier League. That could have been the reason why he was sacked, right?
Yeah, poor results yesterday against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I believe that also contributed to it. Nottingham Forest are fighting relegation, you know, at this point in time. So if they see that as a manager you cannot help them survive relegation, then they don't have any choice than to let you go. But Nottingham Forest, is their problem a coaching problem? That's another thing we'll look at. For how many managers have they fired? All right, they fired Nuno Espirito Santo, they fired Ange Postecoglou, and now it's Sean Dyche. So is it a coaching problem? I think there's really an internal issue. If we want to ask, we don't forget their owner, Narkis, has also been one issue they've been having. The way he's been approaching managers, not letting them exercise themselves or do their job properly, and all of that. It's also another key issue in Nottingham Forest at this point in time. They will still bring another manager who will help them survive relegation with the way they are playing and how things, of course, you know, have been so far. So I think for me, it's really is a huge problem, and I just hope that, you know, they'll be able to get someone that will be able to see how to get them out of relegation.
We even hear that Nottingham Forest are close to appointing former Wolves boss Victor Pereira as their new head coach. After the sack of Sean Dyche yesterday, I hear that They are very close to signing the 57-year-old, to replace Sean Dyke in that position. They have worked previously with Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis at Greek club Olympiacos. So I'm sure that the man does feel that these days, if the coach has worked with you, like we saw in Liam Rossini, you just get to bring him to come and take one of your projects elsewhere. I don't know about Victor Pereira. Is it the man that can change the narrative of or the dwindling fortunes of Nottingham Forest?
We wait to see, all right? We wait to see because it's a dicey situation where Nottingham Forest...
He kept Wolves last season. Wolves were at the deep end of the relegation battle, but somehow he was able to drag them back and retain their place.
This is a different team, all right? It's a different season, so you never can tell what will happen. So we wish the man the very best of luck.
Liverpool had a good time at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland, and they have finally defied that ground because of the 1-0 win yesterday.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a good one for Liverpool. For talking about the league title, is out of the picture for them. I think they should just fight to make the top four, qualify for the Champions League, and see if they can, of course, look out for a treble this time around. Try to see how to win is it the Champions League and as well the League Cup, to say at this point in time. For Ancelotti of Liverpool, I'm not really impressed with him. Take a look at the way Liverpool spends money, in getting players under him, and yet he finds it difficult to challenge for the title. So I'm not really impressed with what Ancelotti has done. With what Liverpool has done, they should be fighting for the title, but now they are hoping, trying to see how to maybe win the Champions League, which is also difficult. All right, maybe the League Cup, probably they can get something, but as it stands now, they just have it, see how to hit it, to fight for the Champions League, which I think, of course, is difficult for them. For me, it's really, really not a good season for Liverpool, but good one, they won that one. We'll just look forward to see how they, of course, continue the season.
And then, lastly, this evening, we get to see Barca. Barca will take on Atletico Madrid in a crunch encounter there in the Copa del Rey.
It's going to be an interesting one. Demola Lookman will be on showcase once again in the Copa del Rey. Very, very interesting tie, of course, to look out for. Who gets this one? I just keep my fingers crossed. Barcelona, they're really on fire as well, and I think they want to do everything to get this one. It was a very poor one for Atletico Madrid over the weekend. I think they lost, was it to Real Betis that they beat a few days ago, I think still in the Copa del Rey as well. So for me, I think Barca on a very good form. They might just, get this one at the end of the day.
Actually, a lot of guys are hoping that we'll get to see a new manager, at the helms of affairs of Tottenham Hotspur, having sacked that man, Thomas Frank. One will be expecting that lineup of managers might possibly replace him. Current search is ongoing. Will it be Mauricio Pochettino, who is now coaching the USA? Will it be Enzo Maresca, who just left Chelsea? Or will it be, some other guys who are, still there looking, hunting for job? Big question is who replaces, Thomas Frank in a project like Tottenham Hotspur?
I think it's best known to the management, at this point in time. Just like you mentioned, there are lineup of coaches, De Zerbi, you talk about Enzo Maresca, you talk about Thomas Frank, assistant. For me, I think they should go for Enzo Maresca. Yes, Enzo Maresca will be a good option for Tottenham Hotspur because Enzo Maresca is one man who is very calculative. Enzo Maresca was not sacked at Chelsea because of poor performance.
That's correct.
All right, he was sacked because he didn't agree with the board. With the way they wanted to run the team. So if maybe he can go down to Tottenham Hotspur, I think the man can revive the team to what he used to be.
Well, we'll keep our finger crossed on that particular one and see how far that goes. Many thanks, Kinsley, for being part of the conversation at this evening on Sports Extraordinary.
Thanks very much for having me.
Ekpo Temple is my name. I'll be back again tomorrow, same time, to take you through the beautiful world of sports. Many thanks for joining us. Continue to enjoy the rest of our evening program here. But for now, it's one game football without violence. I'm packing my bags and we're leaving the studio right now. Bye-bye.